Yo, it's your boy, Mr. Tello, back to you with another video. Season of Discovery don't stop, and we don't stop. Guys, we're pumping out content. We're coming out left and right and swinging all night, baby. Cheers up to you. Much love. A little sip of the Hydration Nation. How you doing? However, we're dipping a little Swedish meatballs, little cranberry jam, a little mustard. Let me give you the reputation on these things right here. Let's see if they're truly exalted or not. They could be pretty neutral. They could be pretty mid. Who knows? They're pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. Pretty solid. Listen, lock it in. You already know how it goes. How you guys doing in Warsong? How you doing in PvP? How you doing in Gnomer? This video is about Gnomer, by the way. We're going to talk about some Wildhead news. But how's everybody doing in Season Discovery? As a matter of fact, Season Discovery alone, how are you doing? All right? How's your life? I hope everything's all right today. You know? I know it's a Monday, some bullshit. We don't want to be at their jobs. Let's quit those jobs and maybe just play WoW for the rest of our lives. That sounds like a horrible idea. Lock it the fuck in and back out my face right now. Boy, I oughta. Let me stop. Anyways, stop it, Tello. Video time. No time to speak bullshit. Anywho, so it looks like we have a Wowhead article about analyzing Gnomeregan, boss armor, and resistances for Season of Discovery. Now, we all know that this is kind of like an issue right now currently with Gnomer, where a lot of people feel like... Hold on a second. Is my chair broken? No, my fat ass didn't break the chair. No, it did. No, it's good. I'm scrolling in. We set the macro to scroll in. Locking in. Anywho. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people know right now that currently, Gnomer is... It's pretty, I wouldn't say easy to do right now, but if you have the right competent group, people that actually have brain cells, you can take Gnomer down relatively easily. I think the times right now, the fastest clear in the world are about, 30? 20-something high minutes to 30 minutes tops, maybe 33 minutes, I believe, something like that. However, overall, I think the longest takes are, maybe 2 to 3, 4 hours in the early weeks of doing Gnomer, and now people are starting to get this down. So let's say average Gnomeregan raid with a right group, probably 45 minutes to an hour. That's what I'm basically saying. I would say about 45 to an hour that you're in Gnomeregan, depending on your group. However, we all know that the later you get through Gnomeregan, the more armor that these bosses have, right? And obviously that's a big issue right now, especially with physical DPS, because physical DPS is lacking compared to a lot of other classes besides melee hunters. Melee hunters are killing it, but a lot of the other physical classes are having a hard time doing as much damage because of the damage mitigation from physical damage overall, right? So a lot of these bosses have much more armor, and there's that big discussion on how these enemies are pretty much higher than Ragnaros level, Molten Core style enemies in terms of armor and how much they can take from the mitigation and the physical damage reduction, right? So, it's pretty big, slap in the face right now to physical damage dealers this phase. However, it's not really the massive thing to the point where we should all, basically, cry and whine about it is what I'm trying to basically say. I still think we're still doing pretty damn good damage and giving, great utility overall as all the classes that are physical DPS in the game. We're still doing a lot, right? But not as much as casters. And it's okay if this phase is going to be a caster phase. I totally get that. I think eventually down the line, all our problems are going to be mitigated, and they're going to be issues that'll get fixed, and a lot of classes will feel pretty strong overall. However, let's go into the discussion of talking about the armor values here. So they basically say, during Season of Discovery Phase 1, players thinking about Phase 2 were concerned that many of the mechanical bosses in Gnomeregan Raid would be immune to bleed and poison effects. If they were, they would invalidate many beloved runes and character specializations. Blizzard recently stated that none of the bosses would be immune, but that some would have increased resistance to those type of effects. As usual, Blizzard did not provide specific details, but now with the release of Gnomer, Raid players have been able to figure out these resistances, and players have also made unexpected discoveries about the armor that the Gnomeregan bosses have. The mechanical bosses have very high armor values, some even higher than Ragnaros from the level 60 Molten Core raid, and this is what we were just basically talking about. I've heard this in many of the discords, even my guild discord. and you know, we were just all going over it. The first week it was really hard. Like we did it one day, and then we finished it Saturday night, and now we're going into it tomorrow night to do another run. But now we're used to it to the point where you have the right team, the right comp, you could get this done relatively fast. I don't think it's as super hard as people are saying, and almost to the point where I'm debating now whether I think this raid should be nerfed. I'm not too sure yet. I'm still on the fence of saying I do think they're going to hit it with a nerf, and if they do, no big deal. We're just going to blast through this raid. However, I don't think the raid should be harder than Molten Core level content at the same time, you know? So that's a little insane to say that. But let's look at the approximate armor, bleed reduction, and poison reduction values. Hold on, lock it in 1 second. Got to get in the sip of water. I felt the asbestos coming through the nose piece. All right, boys, here we go. So, for the approximate armor for Grubbus, we have 2250, which also follows by Fallout with 2250, so they both share the same value. Crowd Pummeler has 4455 or 4445. Oh my gosh, I can't even say the number right. What's going on with me? I'm stuttering again. 4455. Electrocutioner 3731. For Majare 3731. So they both share the same values. And Thermoplug is 4455. So it looks like that's the approximate armor values of what they shared. I'm actually surprised that Thermoplug and Crowd Pummeler share about the same, almost around the same armor. But I do think, yeah, that fight with Crowd Pummeler, it's not a super lengthy fight, but I could see why that would make a big difference to the physical end, right? But bleed damage reduction doesn't count with, you know, Fallout and Grubbus, but it starts counting in when you get to Pummeler and then the rest of the bosses. The same thing with poison reduction. So this is where like things start to become a little bit harder for rogues and warriors, especially since that's what they're all about, you know. This was discovered by Grox Empire from the Fight Club Discord with this information here, and then they also go into another summary here. In Phase 1, Raid 1, BFD, most of the bosses had low enough armor that a regular suit of armor, a regular suite of armor debuffs, would bring them down to nearly 0 armor. This meant they would mitigate either 0 or just a few percentage of the physical damage that players deal to them. The mechanical bosses in Gnomeregan are completely different, and in most circumstances will mitigate 30 to 50% of incoming physical damage. So this is why, you know, it's so important having a good raid composition, because as you see here, like we have, you know, priests with the homunculi ability, druids with the fairy fire, and curse of recklessness with, you know, warlocks, and you can see the difference in what it makes if you're applying all these debuffs. If you have the correct raid comp, we'll just look at the best BIS raid comp here. You're doing about a good portion of percentage to the point where that boss will only mitigate so much physical damage for your physical DPS. So that is massive. But if you have no debuffs, it's going to be a much harder time at 54%, and your physical DPS is not going to look as good compared to caster damage. That is absolutely insane. 38 to 54 is a major leap. Like, even a 5% difference is nuts. That's why, like, even, like, you know, for me as an example, as a paladin, when we go down the ret tree, even in PvP, we go for deflection. Even it's good in PvE as well if you really want to go with it. But 5% is no joke. And imagine 54 to 38 in terms of mitigation damage. That's fucking nuts. That's pretty high. So I don't think I'll say this. I don't think it's like bad overall if you at least bring, you know, a priest, you know, for the homunculi. Obviously everybody's gonna want to bring a priest, but at least if you have a druid and a priest, that's awesome. But if you have all three, that's the perfect comp right now in your Gnomer raids. Bring in a warlock, bring in probably even 2 warlocks is sometimes really juicy too, to give different types of curses, because, you know, not all the curses can be applied at the same time. So having different types of curses from 2 different warlocks, that's pretty juicy as well. But having the druid, having the priest, mages is a massive advantage as well. Having the ability to clear things faster, mages bring a lot of utility with that. I think those 4 classes in general. What is this? I'm going over here with it. I'm going over it. These 4 classes, damn it. Lock the video in and tell me when to shut the fuck up when I need to. Alright? I'm tired of it. Back up. Anywho. So, You can see in the above table that it talks about the boss armor values and Gnomer, as well as the common combinations, armor debuffs. The table entries tell you how much your physical damage will be reduced by the boss's armor. So yeah, that's what we basically went over. Very high physical mitigation from bosses to make physical damage classes weaker in general. With all the new spell damage gear release and the discovery of very high boss armor values, it seems like Blizzard wants to push caster damage dealers into the spotlight and be much more competitive damage dealers in Gnomeregan than they've been before. So, yeah, that is true. I mean, I really think casters are having their time to shine. This is really a caster meta that we're currently living in at the moment. I mean, even with the hotfix changes they did the other day to fixing, the Star Surge, I believe, the abilities from Druids, the Boomkins, and, nerfing the Shadow Ward, I believe, Pain from the Priest, and then giving him, like, the Mind Spike and the other thing, 10% increase. I've still noticed that they're smacking. And I think priests are smacking even more, especially in PvP. I know it's not a PvP video. However, priests are still smacking regardless. And if you know about that, leave the comments down below if you're getting 2-tapped, probably even 1-tapped by a Shadow Priest. However, casters, they deserve it. I'm not going to hate on them. At the end of the day, let them get their limelight, let them shine, because I have a feeling come next phase, a lot of us we're gonna grow together, and that's what I'm looking forward to, maybe even in the end game as well. So they go over the numbers here, showing what is basically going on in the current phase of what's the meta of like the damage list overall. I know it says the DPS paladins are averaging pretty low, below 300, but realistically, if you check the logs online too, paladins are hitting pretty solid. We're still doing a pretty good job. Don't lose faith. You can do much more damage than what it's showing you here from 338. This is like one of the top people in the world right now who actually, I believe, like I talked about in my last video in Thermoplug, he dropped like a 401 or 4 something in the Thermoplug fight. And that's not even talking about individual fights like Grubbus. This is just the damage overall, right? So don't get demoralized. Even if you're like a warrior or rogue or feral druid, don't get demoralized by the damage that you're seeing. You have the potential to pop off a lot of damage with the right raid comp, the consumables, the buffs. You can do it. So don't let this be the average meter of how much you can ascend your class to. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that yes, this current meta that we're in is more favored towards casters. Besides melee hunters are going absolutely fucking nuts right now. If you got a melee hunter who's geared out, bring him with you in your raid. You'll definitely be clearing shit in no time. There's a lot of love for him. And that's also a discussion for another day, maybe if they deserve to have a little nerf, or whether you bring more physical damage up there with them. It depends. However, won't go too much into that. This article ends with the following. So during the BlizzCon announcement for Season Discovery, Blizzard stated they want to make all classes feel overpowered. Not just warriors like it's been in Classic era. Of course, warriors were kings, and they fucking remained kings forever, for a long time. These high armor values definitely give caster damage dealers a chance to feel overpowered, but you think it's too much? Question mark. Should Blizzard bring down these armor values to make physical DPS more competitive, or leave it as it is and give casters their time to shine? Here's what I'm going to say about this. I totally think it's fine to give casters their time to shine. I'm not stressing it too much. My biggest thing that I would like is for them to properly balance PvE damage compared to PvP damage. I think they have this in retail already, from what I heard from some of my retail buds, where PvE damage and PvP damage are balanced appropriately to their both of their spectrums of the worlds that they're in. PvP is a whole nother animal compared to PvE. PvE, you're just parsing, you're trying to do your best as you can of healing or tanking or damage. PvP, you're worried about what ability is going off, how to save your friend, how to save yourself, who to go after, when to do the right ability, when to do the right stun, the CC, etc., when to trinket, there's so many things that go into PvP. So it's more complex as it seems, right? But at the end of the day, I think those meters need to be adjusted to both areas. Like, if you want, keep Shadow Priest in PvE extremely good if you want to keep them that way. But also raise the other classes up so they can reach that potential. And in PvP, Shadow Priests in PvP are absolutely nuts. Like, they have damage mitigation, shields, silences. They can everything in the world. You know what? At this point, fuck it. They got everything in the world. They got everything, all right? It's so hard to kill a Shadow Priest in PvP if you're not nuking them right away. They have that new, dispersion thing where they can, turn into, this galaxy aura where you can't do no damage to them for a couple seconds. Priests are absolutely insane in PvP. So there's no really crazy fair balance going on in that end, where I think you can take down a little bit of the damage there and give some type of style of counterplay or do something for other classes, enable them to basically compete. Because even priests have fears too. Like, what is an AoE fear where they fear everybody? So I honestly think they can do something with that. And make it a little bit more fair for all classes to have some type of counterplay. But this is to decide if they even want to go down this route. I'm not Blizzard at the end of the day. I can't make these changes, but I can only give suggestions or give my thoughts and opinions. And so can you guys in the comments below. I respect everything that you guys say. Don't get me wrong. Maybe might not agree with everything. You might not even agree with me. But at the end of the day, what we could agree on is that we're pretty thirsty right now. Lock it in. Besides that, but let's finish the article. Personally, I'm totally fine with spellcasters dealing competitive damage output. I think it would be great if both spell and physical damage dealers were compete in PvE. I don't think many people would say that this is a bad thing. But balancing the dozens of specializations in gears and abilities is no easy task. Tweaking armor values up or down could be a good way to create relative balance between the spell and physical damage dealers in the game. So yeah, let's full cam this. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, I really hope that Blizzard finds a way, and I think I laughed about this with some of the people in the comments, or just reading some of you guys' comments below. Blizzard and balancing never come hand in hand. It's never something you're gonna find, and I get that. But I think what they're doing with SOD is something really special here that has a lot of potential in the end, and I really hope it gets a lot of love and support, not only from the community but from the devs themselves too. And gives other people the interest of wanting to try the game out and having fun with it. So I definitely think a lot of changes can be made. I have no issues with casters being in the spotlight. I think it's awesome because at the end of the day, classes like melee hunters didn't have a time to shine in this type of era of WoW. Priest didn't have Shadow Priest didn't have a time to shine in this type of era of WoW. I said row. I can't even fucking speak right now. Sometimes I want to hit myself. Settle down, all right? Let's just settle down. However, Shadow Priests, Melee Hunters, hell, even Ret Paladins, all right? We didn't even have a time to shine at all. We were a joke, I mean, Ret Paladins were always kind of like a fucking joke. But now, look at them. They're doing much better. And now with the whole, thing I showed the other day in my videos about, like, the whole Seal of Martyrdom stuff, and, now the Divine Storm builds, and there's 2 different ways to go about your Paladins, and then you got Shockedins and Prots and Holy, and, like, there's a lot of ways to go about different classes, and a lot of other classes are starting to shine as well and starting to do crazy amounts of damage. I mean, look at mages this season right now so far, in terms of AOE damage as well, and they're doing really good single target damage too. Destro Warlock's coming online. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I would love to see some love for the Affliction Warlock as well. That's another thing I haven't noticed, or maybe it's not being talked about too much. Maybe it's on forum posts. However, overall, what I'm trying to say is, I do hope for the day that the things and answers and prayers will be answered from Blizzard, and if they decide to make these changes in an update, I will be so happy and excited when I see the Wowhead article saying that there is PvP balancing, or there is PvE adjustments being made that separate from PvP, so both classes can feel appropriate in both areas and spectrums of the game. All I'm saying is I give a shit about the game. Like, I genuinely do. Like, I actually fucking love playing WoW. WoW is fun. Meeting new people is fun. Seeing their classes and hearing them tell me about their talents and specializations are fun. And this is what it's all about. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you for coming to the video. It's been a good one. Your boy Tello always here, bringing you information. I'm sorry I'm stuttering so much, but listen, I got meatballs on the plate right now, okay? I got meatballs on the plate. I've been trying to eat them for what, about 15, 16, 17, 18? This is almost a 19-minute video. I'm getting sick, all right? I want to eat, damn it. Let me eat. Let me eat in peace. You know what? We're eating another one right now on the video. Can't take it anymore. You back up, all right? Don't let me catch you out there. I hit you with a hodge. All right, but listen. Hold on a second. All in all, I love you guys. Oh, hold on. Fucking hair in my mouth, bro. It's my hair, dude. I gotta put my shit in a bun from now on. All in all, I love you guys. Thank you for joining the video. And you keep it real out there, all right? You keep on keeping on. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.